Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we'll be looking at the specialization update. Will the meta change? In this video we're gonna go through some pros and cons throughout the changes, and we will dive deeper down into the the stats and what kind of immortals do I think will also benefit the most from the current change. And yeah, that being said, let's go take a look at our first frontline update. Now let's take a look at our attacking frontline specializations. We have a huge text here. You can pause the video if you want to read through everything. But here I marked out green text and red text for buff and nerf. But for attacking Immortal specializations, we only got buff this time for this patch. So where the three first paragraph is going to be for epic immortals, and the last three paragraph is going to be for legendary or chaos immortals. As you can see here, the Night Spirit and Destroy stance for epic immortals got 55% damage increase buff, which in my opinion made a lot of the immortals such as Alex, Hannibal, Tutankhamun, and Hippolyta more consistent with their damage. I've been told and they showed me, I've seen a lot, so I think it was a good buff from that. I think the meta might favor attacking frontline again. I think that's gonna be very, very cool. I have my Alex at specialization level 8 ready to go at it, and I think I can make a good team out of it, but I am not really sure how I would do it yet, because I think my team is still going to be pretty good with double tanks, but with these changes to the front line, we will see what the next skills is going to be released in a couple of months time. Maybe they're going to favor the frontline attackers even more, and with this buff I think we are closing in with the standard formation to be back in the meta again. And as for the Chaos Immortals, we have 60% for Destroy stance and 70% for Night Spirit. I don't know why they're different there between the Chaos Immortals, but it's a quite significant buff. We can see Poseidon gonna be really good in this patch. We're gonna see Wukong be really good in this patch as well. I'm actually really interested to see how good that kind of damage gonna be, because will the double healers Athena or Anubis, and then you have Wukong or Poseidon gonna be back into the main meta again? We will have to see when the KBK comes and people start to use things and changing around. Then we will definitely see what kind of, I would say, formations and stuff gonna be the main meta again. That being said, it's a very good buff for attacking immortals, 55% damage increase, and for epic immortals, and then we have 60 and 70% damage increase for chaos immortals. I believe if you already using Alex, Hannibal, Tutankhamun, and these immortals, you will be very happy with this update. Now let's take a look at our Mage specialization changes for this patch, and you can see here a lot of text on the screen. I have marked them with red for nerf and green for buff, and I'm gonna explain throughout a little bit. If you want to read through the text yourself, you can pause the video and then continue while you're done. So that being said, I think Corruptive Wave that most people used previously in previous patch, they're probably going to change that to Store My Spell. At least I know I did, and a lot of people in my server did as well, because Corruptive Wave, it went down from 100% ultimate damage increase to 60%, which is a lot, right? And then although you added resilience rate, which in my opinion is not very good for that specializations, right? That's why people move away from that. Although 60% is still a lot, right? 60% is not small numbers. It can do a lot of damage, but if you have, like, for example, weakness, aura, you have crit on your artifact, I still think that it can perform well, but I think a lot of people move away to store my spell because I think the increase in damage plus the crit rate is more, you know, interesting to use, and I think it is a little bit better than we used to have before. But the damage wise, I think it adds up to what we used to have, right? The extra damage increase, they buff from 35% or 30% to 55% at level 8, right? And I think that's going to be very good. And while now you have extra 35% crit rate as well, so you are most likely going to crit pretty much all the time. So the damage that you lose from changing from corrective wave to store my spell, you probably gain that a little bit back from the crit damage that you do, right? And especially if you have annihilation passive on your artifact as well. So same thing we have for the legendary or chaos immortals. We have some nerf at the same place and the buff at the same place, but the numbers are a little bit different. So it went up to 70% instead of 55 with the epic immortals, right? So I think all in all for the mages, you can probably stick with corruptive wave, but then you have to deal with the less damage dealt. You might not be able to beat people in 50 seconds, 100 seconds, right? You probably have to stick up with almost, 2 minutes, 2:30, or might be time out because you lack that kind of extra damage. So, but you do get a little bit tankier. You are kind of like, if you use Malice as well, your mage won't be able to, get hit by crit attack that often. So, I mean, the plus is there with the corruptive wave, but I think the minus with it is a little bit bigger, or much larger than the plus side of with corruptive wave, right? So, yeah, that being said, I think the Abyssal Inferno, the extra damage one, I think even though with all the buff it got, I don't think it's gonna be relevant. I've tested it, probably maximum doing the same damage as, I would say, maybe like Spell Disintegrator, this kind of damage, right? Like 5 to 10 millions damage per fight. I don't think that's enough. So right now, if I were to recommend you guys a specialization that you should use, I would definitely recommend you Store My Spell, because I tried it, I've been using it, I used it before the patch. I changed like 2-3 days before the patch and after, and I saw a significant changes myself. But if you still want to stick with corruptive wave, you can definitely do that. It's still gonna do enough damage, but keep in mind you're missing on the crit rate as well, so that can benefit for your mage a lot. So yeah, that's it for the mages. Let's take a look at the archers. For the archers specialization, we have a very similar situation with the mages. The changes are pretty much the same, and there are not, only difference here is that the concentration stance also decrease from damage, right? Ultimate damage from 100% to 60, but instead they get accuracy rate. In my opinion, that might be still a way to go, right? Because as an archers, you don't have the extra crit rate from the artifact, you don't have the chance of critting in general that high. So you might still want to go for that, and also you have the chance to miss ultimate or miss an attack in general, so the accuracy rate I think might be very good additional to that. I think that is the only plus that I would probably give to concentration stance. Although the damage decreases, I would say the upside is there with accuracy rate, because I've seen enough with archers or the immortals. They're sending attacks and they keep missing because the supports have dodge rate percentage on their artifact, right? So I think that's a good additional. Also, you have the buff with deadly aim, right? When you have deadly aim, you got 55% damage increase on that. If you have, or if you do run your archers a specific way, if you do run a crit, you should be having time to shine skill, you should be having weakness aura on your formation, you should be using this specialization. Now we're talking about possible crit with archers that we don't have it before. We used to have that kind of immortal in this game, but it got nerfed to the ground. I think it was like 3-4 months ago. So it's kind of has always been really difficult to play around crit when it comes to archers. But now it's possible with some skills, but it's more like, one direction, right? You need a very specific skills in order to play around that. If you don't, then it wouldn't work as good as it should. So same thing with the Chaos Immortals. With the Apollos coming right now, they nerfed the concentration stance for Legendary or Chaos Immortal as well. And in my opinion, although they changed the same stuff for archers and mages, I think archers actually become a little bit more relevant again because of the accuracy rate, of course. Although the damage is not there, or the missing 40%, right, for the epic immortals, but I still think that the accuracy rate is gonna help, archers hit all the the damage or all the immortals without missing single shots, right? That's gonna be, in my opinion, a plus in the book. And also, if you want to play around the archer's crit, like I said, time to shine, weakness around your formation, and you need this specialization, which increases a lot. Now you have a chance to crit, and I think it can be very, very good, right? In theory, working sounds very good, but in practical use, I don't know how good it's gonna be. Same thing with the legendary. 70% damage increase, in my opinion, is amazing, and I think with how fast Apollo is basically proccing his ultimate, I think it's gonna be very, very interesting to see how Apollo's gonna do with this skill. So yeah, that's pretty much it to summarize the changes for the specializations changes in the patch. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been taking some time to making this video because I had to test a lot of the specialization myself to be able to comment them from my own experience. You guys might have a different opinion, which is fine, which is cool, because if you have tested some of the specialization and you find a different answer, please let me know, because hey, you never stop learning. You want to improve yourself in the game, like with another knowledge, you want to be different, so you have to try something else that I probably have never seen before. So that would be interesting, right? And for me, it's very interesting because I like to make modules differently, and with these specialization changes, I think I will cook up with something special for the next KVK. So if you are in the same KVK, let me know, and possibly I will show you guys something I've been working on for the past couple of weeks. So yeah, thanks you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and my explanations and my opinion as well, and how you can interpret these new changes. So thanks you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video.